Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Dina. Today is Sunday and it's the 12th of July. Oh, I've been having a great month and today I'm here to give you a report of my latest project. I had decided that I would start an ornament that I had wanted to stitch for about a year now, and if I hadn't decided to do Christmas in July stitching, this would have been part of my mania. But it is a Little House Needleworks pattern called Potted Poinsettia. And I love the variegated color in the red flower, but I didn't have it. And so I didn't want to wait. I didn't want to order anything else and wait on it to get here. So instead, I just used the DMC version. So this will be a great time for you to compare the two. This is what is charted for the overdyes. But if you have DMC, this is how it turns out. And with the exception of that beautiful variegation there in that flower, I don't think you can really tell the difference. But the variegation is definitely seeable, and I'm sorry I didn't have it, but I didn't want to wait any longer. I wanted to stitch this one. It was so pretty, and so I got it done. I started it yesterday and I got a good chunk of it done. I actually finished all of this floral part and the first row of letters, and that was 662 stitches. So when I started today, I started on this F of the alphabet and I came down this side to about right here, and then I came over here and I did all the way across and finished it up today, and that was 536 more stitches. So I have now completed it. It's ready to be finished. And I'm so tickled because look, this was just a remnant of a piece that I had cut off before I framed something. I don't even remember what it is. I know it's a Zweigert because it's got the orange thread running through it. But this is just the tail end of a scrap, and I counted it 2 or 3 times. I knew it would fit, and I'm planning on making it into just a little pillow ornament, so I don't need a whole lot of margin at the top or bottom, just to cut it, to stitch it right around there. So this worked beautifully. So just a tip, if you haven't already started doing it, save all your remnants. And this one was an older one, and so I didn't have it labeled. I'm even labeling the remnants that I have now, that I save now, because then I can tell what what I've stitched it on. But I think it's beautiful. I think it's an even weave. I don't think it's a linen. It's too even to be a linen. So it's got to be a Lugana. And but I just like it. I think it's very pretty. I'm very happy with it. I again will say, have a great week. I hope you'll have a wonderful week of stitching. I have lined up several virtual stitching appointments for next week, and I cannot tell you how excited I am about it. I am really, really happy. I'm going to take advantage of my husband out camping and hiking to where I'm here with just Coco and I, and while my son's at work, and I'm gonna visit with my friends virtually. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope you're planning some wonderful things like that with your friends, your family, other stitchers. And if not, you should give it a try. I'll talk to you soon, everyone. Happy stitching. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. This is Dina. Today is actually Wednesday, the 15th of July, but I want to give you an update on my stitching that I completed yesterday. I worked on this whip on the 13th and the 14th of July, and I worked on it pretty late last night, and I didn't feel like filming that late, so I waited till this morning, and I'll tell you what's in store for today in a minute, but let me show you my progress. I was working on Christmas Garden by Blackbird Designs, and I was ready to start on this row right here. I had done all the way across here, and there's a little divider row underneath it all the way across, and I had done that. So I was to start right here, and that's what I started on the 13th, and this is where I got to. I am so thrilled. I was able to get all of this part done and started going down on that column there that's part of this big flower. But I was working on prompts in Cheryl McKinney's scavenger hunt, and I have been doing it all wrong. I have been going for the top number of stitches every time, and sometimes I would just go for a motif and I wouldn't stop and count, and I would get 500 stitches and I only needed 2 for the minimum and 3 for the most. And so I realized that it was taking me a long time to get through these levels. So I decided on the 13th, when I started working on this piece, that I was going to do it a little differently, and that in order to finish the levels, I was just going to do the minimum number of stitches, even though that was half the number of tokens or points, because I wanted to get on up into the higher levels, and because the prize packages are better. So anyway, I thought, okay, you know, you're just going to have to keep rocking along on this thing. So I started, after about the first or second one, I started dropping down to 200 stitches, and I started counting really carefully. And so I posted several prompts out of this piece over the last 2 days, and I am thrilled to say that I finished out a level, and I am 1 level higher. I'm still on the main tier, but I finally finished the 3rd level. So, hey, good morning, sweet girl. So, okay, hop down. So anyway, that's what I've been up to, and I want to show you again my stitching, how it has come across. I'm loving it. So anyway, that's how far I've come, and I just want you to know that I actually stitched 2 stitches below 2,000. So I got 1,998 stitches in those 2 days. I wish that was a stitch-a-thon weekend. Oh my goodness. But you know, these are only 4 colors. And so you don't change your threads as often. You do some entire motifs in 1 color. They are variegated, you know, they're hand-dyed, but I think it's a beautiful piece, but it is quick to stitch, which is great. So if you're thinking about stitching the Christmas garden, I hope you will. It is a wonderful stitch. I'm enjoying every bit of it. So let me put this away and I'll tell you my plans for today. Today is Wednesday. It is a very, very full day for me personally. I have 2 committee meetings today at church for 2 different things, and my son is off today, and we had because he is off, he booked an appointment today that he needs to get to, so I have to watch Coco, and so it's just back to back to back to back. And in addition to the 2 committee meetings I have at church today, I have to transport some chicken from our church freezer that they were storing for us as a favor for the community pantry. And I have to go and stock it at the pantry today so they have it in time to pack it and serve it on Friday. So I am going to be leaving my house about 10:30 this morning for my first committee meeting. And I probably won't get back home until 1:30 or almost 2. In time for my son to get to his appointment. So it's going to be push, push, push. But what that means is I won't get to start stitching today until after 3 or 4 o'clock, after I play with Coco and take care of her and get her, you know, ready for a nap, and then I can start stitching this afternoon. So I may not have a whole lot to show you by tonight, but I'm glad that today is a whip and not a new start. But it's Giggles in the Snow. And so I'm probably going to stitch on that. If not, you know, if I want to swap it out for something that's not on a sale that might be easier to get to work on, I may reserve the right to do that. So who knows what I'll wind up stitching tonight. I was actually very tempted last night when I stopped working on this to pick it up again today, because I want to finish that row, because then there's only 1 more row of motifs, and then the words Christmas Garden and the border, and I'm through. So that was extremely tempting. So you may find if I actually finish anything early that I'm working on, like these smalls that I'm starting, if I get them finished in 1.5 days instead of 2, or in 1 day even, I may pick up Christmas Garden and put a few more stitches in it. Who knows? It's Christmas in July. I can do anything. Oh, well. I am excited about the progress that I've made. I hope that you've enjoyed what you've been stitching on. I hope you continue to have a wonderful stitching month in July. Stay cool if you're in the heat of the season like we are. And, you know, just stay safe. More than anything, stay safe. I love you and I appreciate you. And Coco says hi too. We'll see you soon. Happy stitching, everyone. Hey. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. This is Dina, and today is Friday. It is the 17th of July, and I am going to show you an update on my stitching, which includes an FFO. And my sister Stephanie, you're going to have to look the other way because this one is coming your way this Christmas. So I need you to go away and look away, and I will tell you when you can look back. If you guys remember, I had, I think, shared this with you as a potential start in Mania, and then I didn't have what I needed, everything I needed to do it. So when I decided to do Christmas in July, I just said I'll do it in July. And so that's what I did. So this was my project that I have been working on the 16th and 17th of this month. And I am so delighted that I was able to get it finished and fully finished. So here is my fully finished object. Isn't that cute? So I didn't have all the called for colors, and so I matched them as best I could with either other hand-dyed flosses or the DMC conversions. And so they're fairly close. There's just a little bit of variegation in the colors that you may notice in these sections right here and here that look very variegated there, and they look solid here because they are. They're DMC. But I think they match pretty well. So I'm very, very pleased with the outcome. I don't want to say too much about what it looks like because I don't want to give it away. But if you haven't tried one of these types of finishes, you ought to. It's great, great fun. In fact, my husband came in and saw it today, and he said, I like that. Is that for us? I had to tell him no. And he said, well, then you need to do some of those for us. So I might be doing some more of these in my future. Anyway, very, very happy with how that turned out. Stephanie, you can look back now. Thank you for turning away, sister. I appreciate that. Okay, it's Friday. I have on my evening ahead of me dinner with my family. My husband's back from his hike. He got through an entire day early. So a couple of things that have happened that you'll see pictures at the end if you care to look, and that is that while he was gone, I took Coco on a play date, and so I've got lots of pictures of her and her new best friend. And then if I can get my husband to forward me a couple of his pictures from his hike, I'll be happy to share those with you. Virginia is a beautiful, beautiful country. And Cheryl McKinney, if you're watching, Tommy said your area is just beautiful. He's hiked through a good portion of it now. On this hike, he actually passed over the 700-mile mark, and that is approximately a third. The trail is around 2,200 miles, and so almost a third of the way, and it's a big accomplishment, I think. And so he's looking forward to maybe going back in September and hiking another week if he can, and then meeting up with a hiking buddy and hiking up to 2 weeks in October. So we'll see. But if they're able to do that, they might actually get through the state of Virginia. There's a lot of miles in Virginia on the AT trail. So that is awesome. But he actually decided that he was going to get up at 4:30 in the morning on Wednesday, and that he was going to hike to a very favorite spot that a lot of the hikers have that's supposed to be a beautiful view, and he wanted to see the sun come up there. And so he did. He got up at 4:30 in the morning, broke camp, hiked to the part that he wanted to be at, and watched the sun come up and took pictures and whatnot. And then he made it to his destination by lunchtime. And he looked at his supplies and realized that he had 10 miles to hike the next day, and he didn't have enough, really didn't have enough energy supplies to do a 10-mile hike the next day, because he had 2 breakfast drinks and he had 1 package of tuna fish that he would probably be eating for supper, that night. And so he thought he better get on down the road. So since he was at his stopping point by noon, he decided to keep going, and he just added 10 miles to that day. He had I think it was something like a 16 or 18 mile hike that day, and he was exhausted when he finished. But the good news is he had been able to eat all of his food during the day to keep his energy up, and he was there at the hotel so he could go out and get dinner and be able to, refuel his body correctly. And he was able to get a good night's sleep and shower and make it home a whole day early. So I cannot tell you how excited Coco was when he pulled up in the driveway. Because, I couldn't tell her, because she would have bugged me all day long. When is he going to be here? When is he going to be here? She talks, right? With her eyes. She talks with her eyes. But she was so excited to see him, she couldn't decide whether to flip over on her back and let him rub her belly, or whether to just run around him in circles. And so she was doing a combination of it and just flipping back and forth from one to the other. And he just had to stand there and let her run and run and run until she ran herself out. She was so excited. Needless to say, it was a great welcome home. I hope you're having a good week. I know we're going into a great restful weekend. We don't have any meetings. My son's not on call. My husband has decided that his hiking legs need a little work, and so he is going to go bike riding instead of running tomorrow and use those same muscles to keep them in shape. So looks like we're going to have a quiet day here at the house, my son and I, and I'll probably spend mine stitching. I will talk to you soon. I hope to have an update for you quickly, and I am loving Jolly July. I did have a moment where I almost changed everything. I got so into stitching Christmas Garden, and I made so much progress on it, I didn't want to stop stitching on it. And if it hadn't been for 2 things, I wanted to finish this gift for my sister during Jolly July. And I have a couple of people that I'm starting new starts with in Jolly July that I want to start. And if it weren't for that, I think I would have thrown out everything else I was going to work on and finish that Christmas Garden, because I could finish it by the end of the month if I stitched only on it between now and then. So I reevaluated it. I decided I would stick with my plan. And in any extra time, if I finish something early, I'll pick up that garden and I'll get some more stitches in it so I can finish it earlier than later. Well, looking forward to hearing from you guys. Love watching your updates, those of you that put out updates. And if not, write me a comment and let me know what you're doing with your stitching. I've so enjoyed hearing from a few of you who've let me know what your Jolly July plans have been, what you've been stitching on, how well you're doing. And I'm excited about that. It inspires me. So I hope that maybe something that I've shared with you along the way inspires you at least to get in the season of Christmas this early, and maybe do a little work ahead of time on that. Anyway, enjoy your stitching this weekend, and I will talk to you soon. Happy stitching. Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Dina, and Today's Saturday, and I want to give you my update for the 18th of July on what I've been working on. Today was a day for a whip, and my whip was Giggles in the Snow. When I started working on it today, I had almost the top section of the little boy done. I had him stitched all the way over to about this arm here. Needed to be stitched and a little bit down his jacket. So I'll show you where I'm at. Here he is. And today what I stitched was this whole sleeve and glove, and then the rest of the jacket that finished off his jacket down here. And I actually was able to do that for 2 prompts, and for a total of 533 stitches altogether today. But I was working on it for the scavenger hunt, and so I was happy to get a couple of those prompts done. So that, I'll put him a little closer if you can see him. That is the top half of the little boy. So the next time I work on him, hopefully in August, I will try to do at least one of his legs maybe, or I may do this background that comes around here and come down, so I've got the whole top half done. But either way, it'll be easy to pick it up and work on it again, but I'm very pleased with the progress that I got today. So that'll be it for this evening. I'm going to hit the hay, and I will hopefully have an update for you tomorrow. Happy stitching, everyone. Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Dina. I am here to give you a status report on my stitching. It is Sunday, it's the 19th of April, and I wanted to show you what I've been working on for a couple of days now. First of all, I went back and corrected or added to my ladies on my hands-on design. And I think you'll agree, you can see those ballet slippers a lot better. I just decided to take that darkest reddish color there that I used in the bows and some of the design itself, and I just went over the back stitching that had already been done in the pink for part of it, which were just the outside of the shoes. And I left the other part just pink with the crosses that represent the ribbon, you know, that they tie their slippers with. So, but I like it so much better. I think you can see it, and that's even better without the glare. You can see it a lot better. So that's my correction on that piece. I wanted to do that before I started the next one in the series, because I just wanted to be finished with it before I needed, you know, to go and do something else. So my next one to start that I started on yesterday was Lords, and got it going and did a good portion of it yesterday, and then finished it up today, and I think it looks great. I love the top hats and the dancing shoes. Now I did my shoes just a touch different than the pattern. In the pattern they have almost like elf shoes, because they have an extra stitch turned up at the toe, but there's only one in the middle here to represent both feet. So it is touching and overlapping, but I didn't want elf-looking shoes on my Lord's thing. So I took the little turned up stitch off. I just left it off. And instead of having a turned up stitch meet in the middle, I just extended the toe piece by one on each shoe so that it looks more like a dress shoe. Anyway, that was my only change in this piece. So very, very pleased with how that came out. It was a quick stitch, and I'm very delighted to have another finish. Very delighted. Now I have a little bit more to share with you. Yesterday I got some happy mail, and I'm going to share it with you today because I opened it today. But I had a giveaway on my channel, and the lady who was one of the lucky recipients on the giveaway wanted to send me a little thank you. As we say every time this happens, totally not required, not expected, but very appreciated. So Peaches, thank you. This is Mice in the Sewing Room, and you know I love these little mice, and I've done 3 as a grouping for Christmas, but wouldn't this be perfect for my sewing room, especially this year because I'm working on things for my sewing room. So delighted to get this pattern, and as a bonus she sent me some sulky thread, a pink, a beautiful pink. Isn't that lovely? So I am delighted, and I thank you, Peaches. Thank you so much. You're so sweet, so kind. So that's my happy mail. I wanted to share that with you. Well, I won't keep you any longer. It's late. I'm going to go to bed, and I will talk to you the next time I have something to share. Happy stitching, everyone. Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Dina. It is Monday. It is the 20th of July, and I'm here to give you an update for today. I had a wonderful time today stitching because today was a sale that Teresa and I started. Teresa is a new friend of mine that I've met through stitching. We haven't met in person, we've only met through Instagram, but she found out that I was going to be starting this piece as part of my Christmas stitching in July. She had it in her stash, and we decided to start it together. So I am talking about the Christmas Spool Tree by Sue Hillis. And we created a hashtag, and the hashtag is Christmas Spool Tree 2020. So if you're working on this or have this that you would like to put a picture of your finished piece, if you've already stitched it, then by all means, please add it to our hashtag and let us see your progress. Well, Teresa and I talked through Instagram this morning, and she said she was going to get started on her piece this morning, but she was having to leave the home fairly early, and she wasn't sure how many stitches she was going to get in, but she was going to get it started today. So Teresa, I hope you've got a good start, at least a few stitches in, so you feel like you made it. But whenever you do, that's fine. This is just meant to be fun. There's no deadlines. I, on the other hand, have been here most of the day. My husband went on a big bike ride today. And whenever one of us is out of pocket a lot in a day, the other one tries to stay close to home as much as possible to keep our puppy dog, you know, with company and someone to take her out and give her walks and things like that. So I was here most of today, so I got a little bit of stitching done. So here is my start on the Christmas Spool Tree. I'm very pleased with how far I got on it. I love this pattern. It's stitching up quickly. It's been fun to stitch. I've been able to talk with a friend today as I was stitching. And the other thing that I really like about this pattern is that on one side of the pattern is all the cross stitch, and on the other side of the pattern is all of the back stitching on the spools and the greenery all by itself. So it's really easy to see. I'm looking forward to that. It came with the pack of buttons. So the little buttons that you use that are various sizes were stapled to the pattern. So I have the embellishment pack with the pattern. So Teresa and I have created a hashtag. If you are stitching on this, if you have it in your stash and want to start it with us, if you've already stitched it and you just want to put a picture up, then the hashtag is Christmas Spool Tree 2020. All lowercase letters, just easy as pie. Christmas Tree Spool 2020. Would love to see either your finished piece or what you're doing if you're going to work on it with us. I hope you'll join us. Well, that's the stitching for today. What else happened today? Well, I have a story to share with you, but I really don't have a picture to share with you because I even went on the website and couldn't find it anymore. I don't know if it's out of stock or if I just couldn't find it. But my son brought me a pattern that he purchased on a download, and then he printed it off for me and he brought it to me. And it is, I'll give you the website. It is from the Witchy Stitcher, and the name of the pattern is Sweet Dreams. If you've ever seen that, it is the hand of Freddy Krueger. And it's doing like this with these long, claws. Anyway, my son asked me if I would stitch it. You may recall I'm stitching on Sleepy Hollow, and the minute he saw it, he said, "That's for me, I want that." And I said, "Okay, that's fine." So now he's gone and decided this would make a good companion piece to go with it. He asked me to stitch it. It's not my style. But you'll do anything for your kids. So at some point, I'll be stitching on that thing and I'll have to share it with you. Of course, it may give me nightmares. I didn't even know what the reference meant because I've never ever seen one of those movies because I would probably never be able to sleep again. But anyway, my son had to explain it to me. So that didn't help. That didn't help me at all to want to stitch it. So he asked me already if I have shared that with you all and told you that, what pattern he found and how excited he was about it. And so I felt like I better tell you because next time I want to be able to tell him I shared it with you that I'm going to be stitching that. And I don't usually stitch dark stitching. So, anyway, I'm going to show you my t-shirt today. It is a cook-off t-shirt. That is a chili pepper. And it was in 2018. And the reason I'm wearing it is because my son gifted it to me after he placed in the chili cook-off. So his department at the hospital back in 2018 and in 2019 had a chili cook-off, and my son entered into the contest, and he placed third the very first year he ever entered, and second last year. So the first year, the winners that placed got a t-shirt, and so he gave me his because he says he probably won't wear them. He doesn't wear t-shirts very much. He's usually in his scrubs, quite frankly. He wears t-shirts on the weekend, pullovers and things like that. But this one was so colorful. I think it was a little too colorful for him. But I like it, and so I've been wearing it today. Anyway, I think that's all the news I have fit to print. But for now, I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to go take Coco and take her out for her last time, and then we're going to go, as we say to her, night-night. She knows what night-night means. She goes straight for the bedroom to get in her favorite spot. Anyway, I hope you're having a great July. I can't wait to see more of what everyone is stitching, and I will talk to you soon. Happy stitching, everybody. Good night. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. This is Dina, and I am here to give you a stitching update and a bit of an update on an FFO as well, and maybe a little bit of plans. let's talk about the stitching update first. After I did about half of July in the Jolly July for Christmas, maybe a little over half, because on Wednesday of this past week, I started my hands-on design pipers. And that was on the schedule to start a couple of days before, but I was busy on something else, and I'll share that with you in a minute. But I did get it started on Wednesday. I had to go to a doctor's appointment, a dentist appointment, and I had a period of waiting time. And so I gave a quick start to it and worked on it just a little bit that day, and I got the word pipers in. And then yesterday I picked it back up and I stitched on it, and a little bit this morning, and I finished my pipers. I think that is delectable. I love the little notes that are between the horns. You may not be able to see the detail as well as I can, but it's a little note with the two little swirly flags hanging off the staff there. So like it a lot. I noticed that this one didn't have any of the pink in it. It did have the dark burgundy, but none of the pink, which I thought was interesting, because most of them tended to have the pink, and I noticed that the Drummers does have pink flowers, but this is the only one that didn't have any pink in it. But that one is finished, so now I have one left in that series, and if I'm able, I would like to finish it this month. We will see. But instead of starting all of the Advent animals that I had slated for the month of July, because they are stitching up very quickly, I think I'll be able to finish them easily by Christmas as far as getting them all stitched. I decided that I had something else that was calling to me very loudly. And I also am in a scavenger hunt event, and I had not been able to do a whole lot of stitching for the scavenger hunt because I kept stitching for other prompts, and you can't double dip. But we had a week that Cheryl McKinney gave us for catch-up for any of the prior prompts, and I didn't have any in that month that I needed to catch up on. So instead, I used that time to work on a piece that has really been calling to me. And so I'm going to show you what extra I have stitched on my Christmas garden. You know, when I get close to a finish, I get a bug. I just want to do it. I don't want to work on anything else. And that's kind of how I feel about this one. And if I hadn't had the need for travel stitching this week, I'm not sure I would have even started the pipers. I was just busy on this thing. And what I've done since you've last seen it is I've started here about the middle. This was done, but I did this whole section of that row and the dividing line there, and I've come over here and I've started on this row and I've stitched all the way to the bird. So all that's left on this row is to finish this flower and do two motifs here, and I am ready to go to the words and finish the border, and I'll be done. So my plan is to pick this up now that I have finished my pipers piping and to work on it again. My husband has had the most fun with me this week, because in the scavenger hunt, the way it works, when you get ready to start a prompt, you are given a word and you have to go find that object. And I have done all of the internal things inside the house, so now I'm having to go find objects outside the house. And I have gotten my husband to drive up to a stoplight, and it was red, thank goodness, and we were able to sit there, and I was holding my stitching up and taking pictures to get my stoplight in, my street signs that way. I actually took my dog for a walk and got the street sign in my neighborhood. My husband took me up to the church, and we got a picture of it in front of the church bus for bus. This morning, my son and I went to lunch, an early lunch, about 11:30, and when we pulled up to the restaurant, I said, "Hang on a minute." I'm sure I thoroughly embarrassed him. I jumped out and got my stitching and held it up in front of a restaurant near where we were going to eat. and took a picture of it because I had to have storefront. So for every 200 or 300, you can do 200 or 300 stitches on this level. And I had been doing 300 every time. I think I've mentioned this in a prior segment, but I've decided now to start counting a lot closer and stopping a little over 200 so that I can get through these prompts, because I'm still on the first level of the scavenger hunt and I want to get at least to the next level to show that I have participated. And so that's what I'm doing. That's another reason I'm getting so much done on this, because it's one of my 3 projects that I can use for the scavenger hunt. So I'm going to try to go back and work on this some more today, hoping that I get to do that. But I wanted to share my finish with you today, and I wanted to kind of tell you about those change in my plans, that rather than start several new things, and I think it was going to be another 4 or 5 for the rest of the month, I have been stitching on my Christmas garden, and I've actually looked at how many days I have left in the month, and I very well may finish it in the month of July. And wouldn't that be awesome to finish a Christmas piece in the month of July? And it happens to be one of my Stitch 10 and 20 as well. So that wouldn't be bad either. I have one more thing I want to share. Well, no, I have 2 more things I want to share with you. One is an FFO. I recently shared this finish on my channel, and I thought I would make that finish into a flat fold. But I was so busy stitching, and it was in July, and I did not want to interrupt my stitching time for my Jolly July schedule to stop and make a flat fold myself. So I called up my friend Stephanie at Keepsakes, and I asked her if they had someone there who did finishes in flat folds, and it turns out that Barbara does them herself. So I spoke with Barbara and told her what I was looking for was a flat fold, and I would just send her the piece and trust her to do it any way she saw fit. And she gave me, about what I could expect that to be, and I shipped it right off to her. So I got it today. I'm so excited, and I love it. Absolutely love it. So Stephanie, if you're watching this, I don't know that Barbara watches me, but I think you do, because you've commented before, you and Pam. If you see this, please tell her how much I love it. It's beautiful. So here is Holy Night Snapshot in a flat fold. I just love it. I think it was the way to go for this. I love the rusty bells on the bottom for the feet, and then the little ribbon for the bottom of it matches the fabric perfectly. And I don't know if you can see that very well, but in the naked eye you can see it very well. There is a wrapping there of cording, and the cording is made from the dark brown and dark green, almost the same color as this fabric, which is what the December looks like, I think, pretty much. But, and she's got on the inside of this is a brown, but the green is on the back. So I just love it. I think it is absolutely gorgeous. You can't see it probably, but in this green fabric, there are these little tiny, tiny flecks. Yeah, you can see them there. And they're a little bit of a burgundy red color, and it's the exact color that's in the hat here and the robe there. So I took this simple little piece that was a snapshot, and I just thought it was a little bit whimsical, and yet it was a subject that was, very much what Christmas is about. And I thought, that's just so different. I'm just going to stitch it up. But it wasn't something that I thought was beautiful or fancy. It wasn't going to be a showstopper. It was just something else to add to my decor. But now, this is really pretty. It's elegant. It's understated. It is classy. I love it. And so now this is going to be an elevated piece in my collection. I can't tell you how excited I am. I think it's absolutely beautiful. And I don't have rusty bells in my craft storage, so I would have never thought about putting feet on it like that. I will think about it in the future, for other things to put little feet on them. I just love it. I really love it. So I will encourage you every now and then, even if you finish things, it's fun to let go of that process and let someone else just be creative and take your piece you've stitched to a whole new level that you've never even imagined. So again, Barbara, thank you so, so much. And if y'all are thinking about sending something, I wouldn't hesitate. I would do it. She does a great job. The last thing I want to share with you is that everybody that you listen to is talking about pandemic, the pattern pandemic, and I'm no exception. I did the same thing everyone else did. As soon as I got a message from anyone, and thank you so much those that did message me to let me know that this pattern was up for a short period of time free. I will show it to you. Just to remind you, this is pandemic. And I downloaded it and thought, I'll just have it, in case I ever do it. I've never done a long dog sampler. I've admired them. I've thought I want to do one day, but I hadn't taken the time to really pick which one I wanted because I have so many other things to do first, So when this one was available and I started seeing people start it and pull their colors for it, it kept it in my mind. And so my husband was on a big hiking trip recently, and so I thought, you know what, I'll print that out and just look at it, maybe spend a few minutes looking through my thread stash and see what I might want, for threads. And, I'll just look at it. Just take a minute and look at it because I had the evening, to myself. I didn't have anybody here to talk with or do anything with. And so, that's a dangerous thing to do. Very dangerous. So let me show you what happened as a result of taking that little bit of time to look at it. I wound up ordering the floss and the fabric. So here's my fabric. I love 32 count, so that's what I'm doing it on. It's probably going to be huge, but I love 32 count, and I'm not going to try a higher count fabric on something this large. I don't mind trying it later, but for now, I'm gonna stick with what I know. So this is the beautiful platinum, 32 count platinum, Lugana, and this is my color. Isn't that beautiful? It's DMC. It's 93. It's about a cornflower blue, but it's variegated. So I will not have to change colors ever. I will just grab my next length of thread and go. And I think that will help me to really put some stitches in here. And I really appreciated the fact that she had on her pattern, when I got it out and started looking at it, she had on there how much fabric you needed for whatever count, and then she also had in meters how much floss you needed. And so it took me a little while to do the math. I checked and double checked myself to convert those meters to yards so that I could figure out how many skeins of DMC I needed to order. And for my 32 count, that turned out to be 43 point some odd skeins. So I thought, well, I definitely need 44 to meet what this says I need. I just think that's going to be beautiful. And then I decided to add one more skein because in case I want to fussy cut any of it to complete a motif or something like that, I wanted the extra floss. You know how I am. I like things to match up, or I like them to start right at the same spot or whatever. I'm gonna try not to be that way with this piece. I'm gonna try to let it just be random, mainly because we're stitching about a pandemic, and that is totally random. So I have it in my patriotic bag because this is not just happening in our country, but it is something that has really affected our country. And it has created the need for all sorts of restrictions and executive orders and things like that coming down from our governors and things. So I felt like that was an appropriate, bag to put that in. Now, as far as plans on when to start it, I have not decided when to do that yet. I just wanted to share it with you because, just because. Because I'm excited about it, I guess. So I'm gonna close up for now, and I'm gonna go back to stitching on Christmas Garden, and I will hope that by the time I wrap up my Christmas in July stitching, that I have a finish to share with you. We will see. Thanks for letting me share my fully finished object with you and my plans for pandemic down the road, and also for my finish that I had today. I hope you're enjoying your stitching. If you're stitching Jolly July or whatever you're stitching this month, I hope you're having a really good time with it. I hope it's giving you a respite and encouraging you to keep fighting the good fight, to keep staying strong through whatever we face during this pandemic, and go from there. I have one more plan that I'm not quite ready to show you because I'm not through with all the colors yet, but I had mentioned before that for August I had a start that I had planned for Worldwide Cross Stitch Day on the 14th of August, and I still have that plan. I'm going to start Cross Stitch Nation, and I had always planned to do this, but I didn't know there'd be a sale to join until now. But I have been pulling different combinations, trying out different combinations of floss to be able to make the people in that piece more representative of our community. And so I'm looking at various skin tone combinations. It's interesting though, because I don't think there's any one of the people in that pattern that have more than one color in their skin tone. So I've got to figure out which colors, if I'm only going to use one, which color would represent the different people that we have represented in our group. And so I'll have to look at that when I get my colors all put out together. I'll share that with you. But I encourage any of you who haven't already started to stitch it, you might want to consider it for World Cross Stitch Day, because I think it not only honors the fact that we are having a wonderful hobby that's worldwide, but it is a perfect pattern in my opinion, absolutely perfect pattern for us to represent inclusion and diversity in our community. And so I had always planned on doing that, and now I actually have 2 sales that I can continue to post in and share in once I get that started. So I hope you'll join me or pick something else if you like and participate. But that one just spoke to me, and I felt like it would be a very good representation. I love Shelia's version that they show on the Sunshine Stitchers when it comes on, and I'm hoping that mine will be even half that nice. So I will be converting all of the colors into silks that I have in my stash. I'll try to get something that's close to what they have, but we'll go from there. So I am working on that also, and hope to have that ready to share with you in the next video or so, and at least by the time I'm ready to start it. So I have made some plans for August as well, just sort of a beginning of a plan, and I'm trying to focus on coming back around and stitching on all of my whips again, because in July I've only been touching my Christmas. So in August I wanted to go back and really hit my regular whips, that I have pending hard, and see if I can get some progress on all of them. And then of course I have this new start I'm planning. So that'll be a fun month as well. I hope you'll watch and visit with me in August to take that journey with me. I hope you are healthy and safe. Please do everything you can to protect yourself. I will add my caution to everyone else's. Please wear your mask for your own protection as well as everyone around you. I got word this week that one of my dear friends, who is a supervisor of a department in a hospital, just found out one of his employees tested positive for COVID-19, and now the whole department's going to have to be tested. And it will be pretty difficult on that hospital if very many of them have to quarantine or anything, because they buy everything. You know, they are purchasing for the hospital. So I think it would be really hard if very many of them had to be out. Not to mention that you get worried, very, very worried about anyone who gets the virus, because you never know how serious a case someone's going to have. So now my friend's wife is very concerned because he's come home every night, you know, to her, and she has been sheltering at home, wearing her mask, only going to the grocery store. She's a flautist in her church orchestra, and she hasn't even gone back, even though they've started meeting again, because she doesn't think they're ready. And yet, you know, now he may have been exposed, and therefore she may have been exposed. So you never know. So please think about that and just wear your mask. Just be careful. You're very important to us. All of us in this community need and love each other. So take care, okay? Happy stitching.